Hello, YouTube and X. It's your main man, BTM here, bringing you back to the BTM Crypto News Network. So let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, this is an XRP video. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and crypto. Everybody who wants refreshed XRP price 47 times a day, welcome to the BTM Crypto News Network. We have confirmed XRP news, no mysterious screenshot, no deleted tweet, not someone's cousin who allegedly works near a bank. Ripple announced strategic investments into ZILO and LUSD, two companies involved in infrastructure needed to issue, manage, and dilute trade and use tokenized financial assets. But we also need to ask the question the XRP army really wants answered. Can XRP finally break $1.10? Because Ripple keeps building institutional infrastructure, while XRP sometimes looks at the news, folds its arm, and said, "That's nice. I might move later." Tonight, we are separating three things. Ripple can actually confirm what Ripple can actually confirm, what institutions may care, or why institutions might care, and what XRP must do on the charts before we call this a breakout. And I want everyone entering the live stream to answer a question immediately. Does XRP break $1.10 this weekend? Yes or no? Type yes if you expect a breakout, or not yet. Let me add that to the stream. Or not yet if XRP needs more volume. And hit the like button before XRP tries to charge us a resistance fee. So let's establish the facts. Let's begin with the facts. On August 3rd, which is my birthday, yesterday, happy birthday, another trip around the sun, Ripple announced strategic investments in ZILO and LUSD, I guess. ZILO. Yipes. Agency transfer and dang it. Why does this always do that? Okay, there we go. Let me see. Agency or asset management. It keeps disconnecting and reconnecting. And this is crazy. I was on a video for an hour and nothing happened. And now it's back up and down. But LUSD operates tokenized and trading infrastructure for digital ownership and asset liquidity. Ripple says these investments built on existing partnerships and are intended to bring three major capabilities into Ripple's institutional infrastructure on the XRPL, regulated transfer agency, asset insurance, and collateral mobility. These words sound like a conference panel attended by 14 people wearing identical navy blue suits. So let me translate them into normal language. Ripple is trying to help institutions create digital versions of financial assets, maintain official ownership records, distribute those assets to investors, and move them between approved parties, trade them, use them as collateral, and settle transactions on the XRP Ledger. And that is much bigger than putting a picture of a building on a blockchain and yelling tokenization. Ripple's officially described the investments as added regulated digital transfer agencies, assurance, and collateral mobility capabilities to its XRPL based infrastructure. The amounts invested are not politically or publicly disclosed in the announcement. What part is most important? 1. Tokenized funding. 2. Institutional collateral. 3. RLUSD settlement. And 4. The effects on XRP. So what ZILO or ZILO maybe actually contributes? Let's examine ZILO. When investment funds sell shares to investors, someone must maintain the official record of who owns what. And that part of the transfer agent's job. The transfer agent helps manage investor records, ownership changes, subscriptions and redemptions, fund share administration, compliance processing, distribution records. The problem is that many traditional systems remain fragmented, slow, and dependent on separate databases maintained by different organizations. Ripple says ZILO provides modern digital record keeping that can support tokenized share classes as investors move funds on chain. That means an asset manager could issue a tokenized version of the funds while still managing the regulated ownership record institutions require. And here is the easy way to remember ZILO. ZILO helps answer who legally owns the tokenized fund share because investors cannot operate on, trust me, bro, the wallet says I own it. They need regulated records, compliant controls, and an auditable ownership history. Real crypto can survive on screenshots and enthusiasm. A global asset manager cannot. Ripple says ZILO's technology gives asset managers, custodians, and transfer agents digital record keeping for tokenized share classes, providing the regulated ownership records needed to support lending in collateral markets. Tokenization without regulated ownerships records is just, and there's no answer there. So on to Lucido. Now let's discuss Lucido. ZILO helps the official record. Lucido helps with assurance, distribution, execution, and liquidity. ZILO record records it. Lucido moves it. XRP settles it. Lucido is important because tokenize an asset does not automatically make it asset useful. You can create a token representing a shared fund, wonderful, but institution distributed. Can an approved investor buy it? Can it trade inside a controlled environment? Can the owner post it as collateral? Can ownership and cash settlement happen together? Can the asset move without creating compliance chaos? These are the deeper questions. Ripple says Lucido platform manages the assurance, distribution, and execution of traditional finance assets so that you can move collateralized assets through on-chain atomic settlement infrastructure. That phrase, collateral mobility, is one of the most important parts of this announcement. A lot of institution assets sit on balance sheets without being effectively used. Ripple's pitch is that tokenized assets can move more easily and become usable in borrowing, lending, and margin and settlement workflows. In normal language, instead of assets sitting in a financial basement collecting dust, the institution may be able to put it to work. According to Ripple, Lucido supports assurance, distribution, and execution while helping tokenized assets move as digital collateral through an atomic settlement infrastructure on the XRPL. Which company is a bigger piece of the puzzle? ZILO for regulated ownership records, or Lucido for distribution, trading, collateral, and mobility? Put your answer in the chat, and I don't know what you guys think. I suspect it would be Lucido, but let me know what you think. Phantom, we're back. Joseph Parker, no. The main man, Silver Days, what's up with you, fam? BTM Crypto News Network, let's go. Let's go, BTM. Appreciate you, Silver, Joseph, and Phantom Beats. Thanks for joining. So as we go, let me start the screen share and see what we can see. Over to the bubbles. So it looks like Turbo's up 6.5%. Tiles up 2.6. Hash flows up 29.8. I might need to pick up some, but I think this is on Binance, so I'm not sure. Zcash up 5.5. Litecoin's up 1.5. Bits is up 1.7. Dash is up 0.7. Quant is up 2.4. FET is up 1.8. DEX is up 1.3. Hyperliquid is up 2. Airdrone Financial is up 3.2. Binance is up 0.6. Solana's up 0.5. Sui is up 0.6. Safe is up 2.8. OKB's up 0.9. CVX is up 5.9. XDC's up 1.7. XNO is up 3.3. Ondo's up 1.1. Bitcoin SC's up 1.5. Casper's up 1.1. Trump tokens up 0.5. ZBCN's up 0.5. Casper is up 1.5. Cosmos Atoms up 1.3. Qual Network is up 2.5. And Prime is up 1.8. Looking at the market movers, Bitcoin is at 64,255, up 1.1 a day, unchanged on the hour. Up 0.1 on the week, up 0.9 on the month, and down 44.2 on the year. Keeping it moving. Ethereum is up 0.6 on the day, down 0.1 on the hour, down 2.8 on the week, up 4.7 on the month, and still down 49.6 on the year to 1,871. XRP, our favorite cross-border remittance processor, is $1.07, unchanged on the day, up 0.1 on the week, unchanged on the hour, down 7.2 on the month, and for the year, down 65%. I hope it stays down so I can pick some up while it's still low, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. Keeping it moving, we're going to go over to the shorts. Yeah, there it is. Ripple expands tokenization push to 2 strategics. Updates. Actually, let's play this video.
The beginning. The company has announced investments in ZILO and Licuido, 2 firms building the infrastructure needed to move traditional financial assets on-chain. Together, they'll bring regulated transfer agency, digital issuance, and collateral mobility to the XRP Ledger, helping institutions settle trades faster and put tokenized assets to work. The move builds on Ripple's partnerships with firms including Aviva Investors, Franklin Templeton, and DBS. With RLUSD serving as the cash leg for delivery versus payment transactions, Ripple is positioning the XRP Ledger as infrastructure for tokenized finance. The next phase isn't simply putting assets on chain, it's making them usable across the financial system.
Just want to go back and say that it was
needed to move traditional.
What was it? ZILO?
Ripple says tokenization is only the beginning. The company has announced investments in ZILO and Licuido.
ZILO and Licuido. So I was halfway right. But shout out to that update. Let me bring the numbers over before we get into the videos. Let me see. What is this? Wait, it's the same. Is this the same? Missing something. This is the radar. So what is this? This is the radar. This is the radar as well. Let me see if I can find the. Yeah, here we go. Trade tracker. Okay. So as this comes up, gonna go over to. This is Crypto Sensei. Let's see what he has to say.
Now feels like Republicans don't want the Clarity Act to pass, so they can blame it on Democrats for not passing it and seek donations from the crypto industry this fall. Put this bill on the floor. If Republicans fail to do it, then the industry should not give them any money. This is the game that gets played in Washington. Democrats do not want to give Trump a victory. Send the Republicans a message: no more money for you unless the bill is put on the floor and you can see who's actually supporting it. Yeah, I think it'd be an epic failure not to just get it to a floor vote. Even if you don't think you have the support, we need to know who's on side and who's not. If you don't actually bring it to a floor vote in the Senate, regardless of what the situation here is, I think that'll be a huge red flag for the crypto industry, right? Because, you know, you control the Senate, you control what comes up for a vote, right? Republicans do. John Thune does. He needs to get it across. So it now feels like Republicans don't want the Clarity Act to.
You don't say. I mean, I hate to be that I told you so, guys, but I've been telling you guys the whole time, these guys are not interested in getting this to pass. And a lot of these influencers are lying to you guys, telling you this, that, and the third. I'm telling you, these guys are not interested in getting it done, right? They're just hyping us up to draw this out as long as possible. So this is Jake. Let's see what Jake has to say.
You know, right now you would need like 800,000 XRP to move $1 million. Even if it was tens of thousands a day, they've only burnt 1.5 million XRP up to this point. It's been operating for 14 years. So that would also reduce the cost on the network for sending transactions. You know, right now you would need like 800,000 XRP to move $1 million. Even if it was tens of thousands a day, they've only burnt 1.5 million XRP up to this point. It's been operating for 14 years. So that would also reduce the cost on the network for sending transactions.
So shout out to Jake. This is.
Seems like the reverse carry trade is on the precipice. Doesn't XRP need to have some price appreciation first to be able to save the day? No, it does not need price appreciation first. So I think that they've pumped up the Stark market to be able to rotate that liquidity alongside the Bitcoin ETF liquidity into XRP all at the same time to be able to drive the price up in that situation, to be able to de-risk and start to settle real time on the back end of the stock market and drive economic growth to be able to get us out of the hole and V-bottom out of there. I think potentially prior to the midterms happening. I think that they need a full recovery and some additional upside and stuff for midterms to go the way the Republicans want. And so with that, you know, it's got to happen fairly quick if that's going to be the case. If they're going to wait till post midterms, I think they run the risk of losing the midterms and losing the capability to get the Clarity Act across the line and a bunch of stuff. So if they are concerned about getting the Clarity Act across the line, they probably need control of both the House and the Senate. If we do see, you know, a save the day moment and things work out, even if there is a horrible downturn in markets, I think that would bode well for the Republicans to take both of those and then be able to, you know, actually pass that legislation. So that's my guess on what's going to happen. Seems like the reverse carry trade is on the precipice. Doesn't XRP need to have some price?
Yeah, that's weird, but definitely understandable. Moving forward, this is...
Here's Chris Giancarlo with a message about what happens if the Clarity Act fails.
This platform's the best balance sheets And what I would say, if I can leave one message to your audience, if clarity doesn't pass, it's actually one of the byproducts is going to separate the men from the boys, because the people that are afraid of building are not, and the people that are fearless will. And I think that's 10 years we're going to look back and say those who didn't build got left out. And ones that had the courage to continue building are the ones that are going to benefit from this innovation.
Nobody has more courage than Ripple has had. XRP, I believe, will benefit more than most in terms of digital assets if it does not pass. So lock in. Here's Chris G and Carlo.
So that's an interesting point, right? Maybe XRP is going to be one of the catalysts that capitalize on it not being passing. I would almost dare to say they might be making sure that it doesn't pass because they don't need it anyway, right? But I don't know. It's weird. But I'm telling you guys, nothing's going to happen, right? These guys aren't going to do anything before midterm. And I don't want to be the I told you so guy, but I've been telling you guys this all year. I've been telling you since December, it's not going to happen before midterms. And nobody believed me. People are like, it's going to happen in January. January came and went. It's going to happen in February. February came and went. It's going to happen in April. Nothing happened. It's going to happen in March. Nothing happened. It's going to happen in May. Nothing happened. Then they stopped talking about it. And the next push was, oh, they're going to do it on July 4th, on the July 4th weekend. Nothing happened. Here we are in August, still talking about it. And these guys go to recess in less than 6 days, right? The 11th, I think. Either 11th or 12th, right? 5 or 6 days. And if it ain't passed by Friday, nothing's happening, guys. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm just trying to prepare you. And the crypto market is probably going to take a turn.
It looks like
down.
is still on the table. Senator Thune said that we may still get a vote before recess.
Once it doesn't pass, guys, I think the market's going to dip a little bit. And this is someone else pushing that hopium, that pure hope that these guys don't know. Clarity's still on track to pass this week. New BlackRock expands tokenized cash with new crypto money market stuff. Solana beats BlackRock and RWAs. And this is yesterday.
It looks like clarity is still on the table. Senator Thune said that we may still get a vote before recess and that he's hopeful. Top crypto things you might have missed. Manic Monday, live from Vegas, April 3rd, 2026. And yes, there's like clothes and stuff everywhere in my room. I just got back because I'm going to go play Wasp tomorrow with Solana. So when it comes to clarity, we may or may not get it done. But as I've been telling you guys, we'll still have another chance in September, November-ish. But even if it gets passed, it still has to go to the president's desk for final signature. And it won't go into power like a year or two because just because something goes into law, it doesn't get settled immediately. I'm tired. And good news is Bitcoin is still trading at $63,000. And most altcoins are in the green, which is good. They're hanging on, baby. But again, people are making money in meme coins right now, but they're probably losing money. I think Kate on Solana is trending, not financial advice. And people seem to be trading on FOMO. I'm not. Strategy sold 1,638 Bitcoin and boost their reserve to pay dividends. And Cantor actually cuts Strategy's bullish view from 212 to 186. And they're basing this also on their cash reserves, but Bitcoin's price. And they're also anticipating for Strategy to sell more and get their STRC shares back to to $100, which they might go to zero. I don't know. I hope not. Mine as 10,399 Ethereum to their 5.8 million Ethereum, and they own like 4.8% of the supply. In big Ripple news, Ripple is investing in ZILO and Licuido, and these are just technologies that allow Ripple to enable instant settlement, tokenized funds, and on-chain collateral using RLUSD, their stablecoin. Morgan Stanley launched Solana's ETP. Solana also increased network capability by 66% because of all the tokenization that's happening. And BlackRock expands their new tokenized cash with new blockchain-based money market offerings. The fund is on Ethereum, but the second fund they haven't disclosed. The fund is also worth about $2.5 billion BITL, and it's RWA, and Solana's RWA market also reached $3.72 billion, so they're beating BlackRock. Also, the US is intervening with Japan, and they're going to stop the disorderly moves on the yen. Best it says it's undervalued. crude oil crashes, and this is stock news. And Trump administration invited staffers from major tech firms to the White House. OpenAI, Google, Anthropic. G'day. It looks like Clarity is still on.
So shout out to Wendy O with those updates, which is very similar to the same updates we gave you earlier. So this is over to X. Make sure you follow BTM Crypto News Network on the X channel, so you can stay current in news and events. So this is breaking news. Ripple CTO David Schwartz says $1 million per XRP is far more realistic than just $1. Please and thank you. You know what I'm saying? If it gets to $1 million a share, guys, we are rich. Mama, we made it. You know what I'm saying? $1 million, bro. We are back to country shopping, right? Looking to buy a small island in the Southeast Pacific or maybe half the Caribbean. I don't know yet, but let me know what you guys think about that. And not financial advice. This is just for entertainment purposes. I don't want to hype you guys up. I don't want you selling your kidneys or blood plasma to try to buy XRP. Trillions in global capital are gearing up to flow into the XRP Ledger, powered by ZPump token. The project designed to tokenize, that's XPump, I'm tripping. The $160 trillion global real meme coin. Oh, that's the Solana token, right? The X. With a 100 billion market cap, target X pump can soar from only $10 to unimaginable heights. Buy the pump token. I'm cautious about the pump token. Again, as my earlier video says, I'm not going to tell you anything that I'm not buying or invested in, and I'm kind of cautious from the X pump tokens. It's official. XRP announced is happening, and we don't even realize it. If you're not following Market 24/7, then you will regret when he drops it. So we're following Market 24/7. What are you dropping, big dog? Keeping it moving. This is Amelia.
I have many.
Global financial system is undergoing a major shift. Some analysts expect XRP to reach liquidity levels that could rival or even surpass the US dollar. What? Please and thank you. As pressure increases on the US banks, Ripple continues expanding deeper into the banking sector through growing regulatory approval. And then comes August 10th, one of the world's largest exchanges partnered with BTX, bringing a major decentralized media expansion to the XRP Ledger. This could accelerate quickly. So one of the things, I was talking to someone else, so far there have been 5 banks in the U.S. that have crashed and went out of business. So as the economy continues to worsen, as the gas prices go up and these banks start going out of business, it's only a matter of time before there is a massive shift over to crypto. And people are like, I don't believe you. Just hide and watch, guys. Hide and watch.
The reason I have many investment standpoints on why I own XRP, but I have a structural theory on why XRP in the next decade, maybe 20 years, could become the most liquid asset in the financial system. Wow. And we tie it back to how the dollar got to become the most liquid asset in the financial system. And it became the most liquid asset because it was the primary settlement instrument for all of global trade and financial obligations, right? And that's where settlement concentrated and liquidity was the result, right? And that's why the dollar is the most liquid instrument today. That privilege now is being challenged and it's under pressure for the first time in a very long time. Now, we are moving into a digital economy, a multipolar world where no single national currency is going to perform the role of the dollar, a dual role where it carries the political risk. The reason I have many investment standpoints on why I own XRP, but I have a structural theory on why XRP in the next decade, maybe 20 years, could become the most liquid asset in the financial system.
Wow.
And we tie it back to how the dollar got to become the most liquid asset in the financial system.
I'm tripping up here playing on my watch and realizing the dang video ended. So keeping it moving, that was Paul. Actually, was this Paul Barrows? That was Amelia featuring the Paul Barrows video. This is XRP Herald. Rumor analysts suggest XRP could capture up to 10% of the entire crypto market by the end of 2026. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. A scenario that estimates suggests could value 500 XRP at around $1,700. That some estimates suggests could value 500 XRP at $1,700. These are highly speculative predictions, no guaranteed price outcomes. August 1st marked a major milestone for real tokens, as it is scheduled to be listed on another global centralized exchange economy. The listing could further expand access to multi-trillion-dollar payment and media ecosystems by the real token. Some estimates suggest tokens can go from 0.2 to approximately $748.
XRP could become $1,700. Most people have no idea what.
Let me pump the volume real quick. I don't know why it keeps going down.
500 XRP could be worth by the end of 2026. If XRP reaches just a 5% market dominance, 500 XRP could become $1,700. At a 7% market dominance, that jumps to $3,400. And if XRP reaches a 10% market dominance, it becomes $6,475.
Please, thank you. Baby needs some new shoes. Please and thank you. So keeping it pushing. Let me know what you think it could reach. This is XRP holders can officially borrow XRP RLUSD without selling the XRP. Flare Network has officially expanded Centaur's 280 million RLUSD vault on MovePro. I don't know. I'm saying it wrong. Allowing XRP to be used as collateral for borrowing RLUSD on Ethereum. This means XRP holders can now borrow RLUSD without selling their XRP exposure. What? Keep their XRP position while unlocking on-chain liquidity. Access one of Ethereum's largest institutional curated RLUSD lending votes. Flare says FXRP is the first form of XRP approved as collateral in a institutionally collateralized lending vault on Ethereum. That's a lot. That was a mouthful. Let's see what these guys are talking about. Oh, wow. There's no sound. Why do you guys make videos with sound that don't have no sound? This is crazy. I don't know. A lot of information, but there's no sound here. I guess they're walking you through how to use the Flare. And Flare is everywhere. So I guess Flare is safe. But as crypto goes, I'm very, very cautious. This is XRP holders. Statistic debate. Number of people holding large amounts of XRP continue to spark a conversation. And this looks like, wow, some weird guy and Jake Cleaver. I don't know who the weird guy is. There are only 300,000 people who have more than 3,000 XRP tokens. What? Let me turn the volume up because this is probably going to be low. Okay, let's give it a shot.
I say run violently, I mean it's not going to just go to like $3 again and then fizzle down to $1. Like it'll move to 10 probably. Get a lot of retail out. 20. Get even more out. There's only 300,000 people that have more than 3,000 tokens. That's nothing. So you wipe out 70% of them. Are they really going to care if 100,000 people hang on?
Yeah, no, and most
No.
By the time you're at $100, you've probably lost 8% of them.
Exactly. So if there's 50,000 people left on Earth that refuse to sell, like you and me, they're not going to care. When I say run violently, I mean it's not going to just go to like $3 again and then fizzle down to $1. Like it'll move to 10 probably. Get a lot of retail out. 20. Get even more out. There's only.
Yeah, and as mentioned, that's what they're trying to do anyway. Shake out the retail so they can capitalize in institutions. Your favorite bank that's telling you don't buy crypto is going to buy the crypto, guys. This is XRP will be a bridge currency and gold-backed CBDC systems. BRICS Pay is moving towards gold-backed payment systems, while China just extended a gold buying streak to 20 consecutive months, longest on record. And the XRP Ledger already tested by BRICS central banks for cross-border settlement and trade finance futures. Fund managers ASECO had also launched tokenized gold on the XRPL. So this is indeed exactly what Russia FM was talking about, a neutral asset.
Of validating transactions, currencies in terms of native cryptos like XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum. They're not all the same, right? They're not all created equal. I think what's becoming much more popular in the industry now is more sustainable technologies. So the XRP Ledger and XRP is there's no mining or proof of work or proof of stake involved. So the computational cost of validating transactions is almost zero, right? Very, very low cost and very stable in terms of pricing. Stable coins, again, not all created equal. You have a massive range from the algorithmic type stable coins. We all know the Terra story from a few weeks ago. And then now what we're seeing emerging is, stable coins being issued by regulated entities. So I can't give you the names yet, but there's two projects we're working on, one in the UK and one in the US, working with banks that are regulated, who will be issuing stable coins, and the reserves will likely to be held at a central bank in a central bank account. So very different from the algorithmic stable.
So shout out to Stellar Ripple. This is another video just in. MasterCard just paid $1.8 billion for BVNK, a company that natively moves XRP. BVNK has worked with Ripple since 2024 and moves $30 billion a year across 130 countries. What? Why have I never heard of these guys? But yes, this looks MasterCard to XRP. And you say, why is MasterCard using XRP when these guys are telling us nobody's adopting crypto? That is a lie, guys. We sit here and see all these companies that are doing crypto, but these guys continue to sell us out or up the whole team and continue to tell us crypto isn't real and crypto's not not stable? I don't know. If crypto ain't stable, show me what is stable. I don't know. Holy shit. Ripple is low-key flipping the switch on XRP even before clarity passed. Ripple is not simply adding to fintech investments. So shout out to that video. I'll probably get pinged because there's music there and they're not saying nothing. Monica Long just said the switch has been flipped. According to Ripple President Monica Long, the banks are no longer testing tokenization. They're deploying it. Ripple is building infrastructure on a 24/7 on-chain capital market powered by the XRP Ledger, and this is where the future of finance is headed. So let me know what you guys think. Actually, we didn't even hear her talk. I'm tripping. Let me go back real quick. See what she's saying. Why is there no sound? Come on. Come on, guys, with the no sound, bro. What is going on here? I bet it would be awesome to hear what she actually said, but we'll keep it moving. I guess I know this guy's got sound. I know Paul has never neglected to post a video with no sound.
That they just hold that on their balance sheet. They get their banking license and they become a top 20. You know, what's Ripple going to do with its 40 billion XRP? Given that they filed to be a bank, you know, there's one of the leading theories that they just hold that on their balance sheet. They get their banking license and they become a top 20 capitalized bank in the world. That's with XRP at $3. XRP goes to, you know, some multiple of $3. They become a top 10 bank or even the top bank in terms of capitalization. That's pretty astounding.
That would be insanely astounding. And I think a lot of people are sleeping on that idea. If you look at leverage ETFs, do you feel like they'll ever be on chain to where we'd be able to trade these on chain?
I think everything will be on chain. I don't think there's anything that won't eventually be on chain. There's no question. You know, what's Ripple going to do with its 40 billion XRP? Given that they filed to be a
So shout out to XRP and that guy. I'm not sure what that guy's name is. There's another no sound. The Clarity Act has been excluded from the Senate's. What? Excluded. There are only 3 days left before the actions taken the August recess. The timelines are clear. Passage the bill is getting shorter and shorter. Every senator who delays Clarity bill will be removed from office. The U.S. needs clear regulatory framework for cryptocurrency. Compliant payment infrastructure like XRP may be a major benefit of the shift toward a sound regulation. And I was reading something, and these guys are saying for XRP or for the banking, it's got to be a switch. And they were saying it's got to actually, the system has to go down for a day, right? And they're saying there has to be some event to bring the system down for a day. And when it comes back up, it'll be all crypto. So I don't know what you guys think about that. Let's get to the numbers. This is the XRP radar. Currently on chain is 15.6 billion. If you haven't been paying attention, these numbers are going up slowly but steadily. Up bit added 124K, 6.4 billion, 41% of the Ripple on-chain, XRP on-chain supply. Binance added what? Binance actually added something? Oh man, something's going on. Binance added 1.1 million, puts their total to 2.6 billion, 16.7%. BitThumb lost 401K to 1.8 billion, 11.8%. Uphold lost 372K, 1.6 billion, 10.4%. Uphold is on the butt for BitThumb. I think Uphold's probably going to be in the number 3 spot soon, right? They're 10.4. BitThumb is 11.8. It ain't that much difference in these guys. BitBank lost 133,000 to 578, 3.7%. Like literally, the next person is 3.7 from 10%. So there is a huge dip. Coin check 22,556 million, 3.6%. eToro 62,481 million, 3.1%. Crypto.com added 2 million. Okay, crypto. 346 million, 2.2% at number 8. Coin One lost 356, 313 million, 2%. And Bitflyer 23K at 192, 1.2. Honorable mention Coinbase with 15,114 million, 0.7. Wow. I would think Coinbase would have more Ethereum. I mean, more XRP. It's weird. Why is their numbers so low? So this is the XRP Ledger. Currently, XRP is 386.8 million, down 4.5% on the month. RWA count is 373. I remember when that count was in the single digits, and it's over 373. Represented asset value is 4.06 billion, up 2.18 on the month. Stablecoin is 901.4 million, down 904%. RWA holders is 199, up 25.6%. And I remember these guys were, I think these guys were at 5 when this thing first started, right? So they are way up. Stablecoin holders is 60.24, up 92%. 30-day transfer volume is 18.1 million, down 98% on the month. Stablecoin 30-day transfers is 3.94 billion, down 2%. Remember why the transfer volume is down 98%. What that means is these guys are not transferring tokens anywhere. So I don't know if that's good, bad, or in between. But XRP terminal value is 7.5 million. Leverage is 9 million. Bitwise is up 0.08 to $12.08. Franklin Templeton is 0.017 to $11.74. XRPC is $11.45, down 0.17. Grayscale is down or up 0.18 to $20.96. XRPL Rex Offspray is down 0.23 to $8.83. 21 shares is down 0.02 to $10.52. Leverage ETFs is down 0.19 to $20.30. Volatility shares is up 0.27 to $22.72. ProShares Ultra is down 0.48 to $10.30. Volatility shares is down 0.17 to $5.90. And Amplified 3X is up 0.67 to $10.58. Let me check something real quick. I was reading. Okay. Dang it, Grayscale. Get back on track, brother. So this is Coin Market Cap. Coin Market Cap is down 0.23 on the day to $1.07. Market cap is 66.998 billion. Down 0.28. 24-hour trading volume is 968.4 million, down 9.09. So let me know what you guys think. The overall crypto market is 2.19 trillion. CNC 20 is $131.11, down up 0.95. I'm not even sure what this liquidations is. Down 20%. Fear and greed is 38. Let's see where we're at. I thought I had more videos lined up. See if we can grab another video. I like this guy. This is Mickey and my main man, in cash, and then of course Crypto Sensei. So let me put this over here. Not sure why the video is still loading. Crypto Sensei, move this out the way.
Well, it looks like the Clarity Act is going to end up being a last-minute race, guys, in this video. I want to give you the update.
We'll start with this guy. Just got to get the other videos.
2 of crypto.
And this guy, I think this is the same
Financial
video,
institutions all over the world are secretly and quietly connecting to.
So see what this guy has to say real quick.
On where we stand. Is this thing going to pass? Is it not going to pass? Guys, as well as the end of the video, show you a massive Ripple connection with a tier 1 bank that almost no one has been talking about as of now. Guys, in this video, I want to break that news, so make sure to stick around for this whole thing. Like always, you're supporting me so much for this channel. Thank you to everyone who likes and subscribes. With that said, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. Because I just want to start out this video and just share with you something that I think is so important to understand. This is something that, in my opinion, is not enough respected by the XRP community in terms of how valuable it is. And it's this statement right here, actually by a member of the XRP Ledger Foundation. He says, I was attracted to the XRP Ledger by the unique and contrarian approach to consensus. That then goes on to say the XRP Ledger is a lean, mean settlement machine that is tailored for upcoming features to enhance these strengths. Guys, I just think this is such an important thing to understand. The XRP Ledger is one of the few chains out there that is not a copycat chain. It is super, super unique. And a lot of people completely misunderstand why the XRP Ledger is so unique. But guys, if you actually understand the core architecture of the XRP Ledger, completely outside of who's going to win, is it Ethereum or XRP or HBAR or Solana? Guys, there's so many different chains out there. The one thing that you can hang your hat on that I believe is so important is the XRP Ledger is taking a different approach. It's different than everything else out there. So guys, while there is a massive competition out there in the blockchain world, the one thing that I have always loved about the XRP Ledger, and in my opinion, keeps bringing me back to it, is the fact that it has a differentiated and unique approach trying to solve a narrow, specific, but extremely large problem. Having a blockchain specifically tailored for settlement of financial assets, in my opinion, is the killer use case of a blockchain. And I don't need my blockchain to do a million different things if it doesn't do as good of a job as
go too far down the rabbit hole. So I actually signed up for an account, and this is completely different than what they show us on the free account. I'm glad I did sign up for the account. This is much nicer than the free version. So it's showing distributed assets at 37.3 billion, 1.71 on the month, represented asset value 419.71 billion, up 176.5. Total holders 1.5 million, up 53% on the month. Total stablecoin value 295.8, up 0.17%, and total stablecoin 280.5 million, up 3.41. And you can see the graph is steadily going up. They don't show you none of this shit for free, bro. I don't know why you got to sign up to get the real charts, right? It seemed like they would show us more, but either way, I'm glad I signed up. So shout out to RWA.XYZ. I'm not even sure what the .xyz means, but let's get back to the video.
As that one use case, because the XRP Ledger has always been focused on what I believe is the purpose of blockchain technology as a whole. When I first got into blockchain technology, I got in because the use case that I thought blockchain could disrupt was the outdated and broken settlement rails in our current financial system. And while all of these other blockchains are trying to do all these different things, some of them super cool, some of them, in my opinion, not so cool, some of them very important, some of them not so important, when it comes to what the core idea of what blockchain was made for, the infrastructure for the financial system was always the thing that I thought was the biggest and most obvious use case for this technology. And guys, having the XRP Ledger being specifically tailored for that, I believe, is so important and a massive validation thesis to this ecosystem. With that said, I want to move on and quickly talk about the Clarity Act. Guys, the big guns are coming out. Tom Lee is calling for the passage of the Clarity Act. Just a quick update. John Thune, the Senate Majority Leader, actually recently came out and said that he believes that they will hold a vote on the Clarity Act before the end of the week. So everyone cross your fingers, and not only cross your fingers, but call your senators and let them know that this vote needs to happen and they need to vote yes for it. At the moment, we don't know if we have enough votes to pass it. We believe that the votes are there. But right now, there's still a strong coalition on the Democratic Party trying to get them all to vote no. Now, I don't think it's going to shake out that way. But guys, there is only one way for certain to completely get rid of that negative scenario. And that is to call your senator and let them know they will not be back in office unless they vote yes to the passage of the Clarity Bill. I know it seems so silly. I know it doesn't seem like a big deal. But guys, the truth is simple. If senators feel pressure that they don't align with the cryptocurrency community, they could potentially lose at midterms, they are going to vote yes. We have already seen Democrats prior years, including the Genius Bill, actually vote against party lines for the passage of cryptocurrency clarity. They are willing to do it, but they have to do it for a cause. And the one cause they care about more than anything is them staying in power. So guys, do your part, push it over the finish line. And these next couple of days are going to be extremely interesting. My forecast is that before the end of the week, we will have a vote on the Clarity Act. And guys, maybe this is a little bit more hopeful, but I do believe that we will have the votes to pass it. I don't think anyone wants to oppose this. I don't think there's an anti-crypto army. I believe that even the Democrats who are being instructed to vote no to this thing are going to have enough common sense to push this over the finish line. I know that's asking a lot. I know that's saying something crazy. But guys, the truth is even the Democrats who are really trying to fall in line with this anti-crypto narrative, some of them are just younger people who know better and have personally talked extremely positively about crypto in the past. And guys, I just think when that opportunity is in front of them, they're not going to be able to turn away from it, but it will help if it actually puts some pressure on them. So guys, make sure to do your part. Call your senator. If you don't want to do that, connect to Congress via John Deaton's website. Guys, go to connecttocongress.com. It will queue up a message for you with your representatives to send them a notice. Guys, do your part, get it done. With that said, I wanted to share with you a quick post from Monica Long. She says something very interesting here that I thought was interesting. Monica Long said, from bank pilots to production, from issuing tokenized assets like money market funds and liquidity funds for on-chain usage, institutional capital markets are moving in one direction, on-chain 24/7. I think this is such an interesting quote because Monica Long is now talking about the fact that they are moving out of these pilots. That for the longest time, we have been working with these financial institutions. We've been setting up potential use case fixes with blockchain technology to their problems, but we've always been stuck in this pilot phase. It seems like from Monica Long's language right there, we are supposed to move out of the pilot phases. And guys, I just think we're going to keep seeing more and more big news developments like this. Guys, in Wells Fargo's developer portal, there is now a direct reference to Ripple Treasury. This is the piece of it that I think a lot of people have missed. Ripple, for a long time, was heavily criticized for not forcing cryptocurrency upon their clients. Ripple, as a financial firm with product sets outside of purely crypto, was working with financial institutions in a way that didn't always directly involve the XRP Ledger. And there was two schools of thought here. The negative school of thought was that, oh, Ripple doesn't actually care about XRP. It's just a fundraising mechanism for them. Ripple is going to keep expanding the other parts of their business, sell off all their XRP, and forget about blockchain entirely. And guys, that is the view that I think a large portion of the crypto market actually still believes today. But let me tell you something that is a much more sensible, logical, and I believe the real answer. Ripple holds a massive stack of XRP. Ripple was part of the early creation of the XRP Ledger. Ripple is extremely bullish on XRP and additionally profits massively from XRP's success. As one of the earliest firms committed, contributing, and developing the XRP Ledger, they understand its power more than anything else. And that company understands that in order to take on the financial giants, they are not going to win doing the same exact thing as they are already doing. The financial giants, their network effects are far too deep, they are far too well capitalized, and they have too much of a stronghold over the current politician. The only way that Ripple can actually win over the long run is to do something different. To introduce a new tech that these firms don't have. To introduce a new tech that is drastically more efficient, faster, and can solve space-age problems the current system can't today and will never be able to. That is Ripple's only chance for disrupting. And all those capabilities are done and issued by the XRP Ledger. The truth is as powerful, as smart, and as capable of a company as Ripple is, it is nothing without the superpowers of the XRP Ledger. And I fundamentally believe that this goes to the core depth of Ripple, the company. So guys, the truth is if that is the case, and if Ripple really does believe that, then all of these partnerships, right? All of these non-crypto relations that Ripple has been building out over the years were all just tentacles to slowly creep in to the infrastructure stack of the largest financial institutions on earth and slowly pull them towards the XRP Ledger. I believe what you're going to start to notice is every single banking institution, whether it's through a Medico, whether it's through a Ripple Treasury, whether it's through the RLUSD stablecoin, whether it's through Ripple Prime, is going to have some nexus to Ripple. And I believe this is the real network effect Ripple's been building out behind the scenes. It's not the flashy one because these firms weren't really ready to dive in just yet. But what Ripple was actually doing was creating the connections that would matter most over the next couple years. When there is the full institutional adoption of this technology with clarity, there is one player who has every single relationship to dominate the industry and create the most regulated cryptocurrency environment with the highest level of institutional participation out there. And guys, that is the XRP Ledger. So once again, I think this is just a sign of things to come. I think what we're really starting to see is Ripple's tentacles run much deeper than anyone truly understands. And guys, the last piece of the thesis being correct is simply, will they plug into the XRP Ledger? Guys, in my opinion, that is not a question because the XRP Ledger is the crown jewel of all this, but some people might not still believe it. I think the XRP community has been right on almost everything over time. And I believe this is one of our easiest bets yet. The XRP Ledger will be the institutional settlement tool for all these banking connections Ripple's already created. And guess what? Ripple has already paved the path to make that happen. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you guys enjoyed this update. For now, Mickle out.
Shout out to Mickle. What up, Mateo? What's going on with your fam? Thanks for joining. Let me see. Let's get back to the videos. Let's see. What the freak, man? Man, this computer boy. I swear this computer's possessed, man. So this is X Payment just went live. Elon Musk, Ripple XRP ties exposed. This is in cash. Let's see what he has to say. And I think there's one more video before we shut it down. I guess we'll see what State Street and City dropped about XRP. But this is in cash. Let's see what in cash has to say real quick. All right.
Crypto's largest exchanges, BitMEX as well as Bitmart, are now winding down operations after 9+ years of operating. These are two of crypto's largest exchanges. And this is why it's so important to study and also do your research on compliant regulated platforms where you can store your crypto with ease and with no stress at all. This is why I Trust Capital is one of the best platforms out there in the game. And if you guys do want to go sign up and check out the platform, you can get a free $100 funding bonus when you deposit $1,000 or more, utilizing my link down in the description below, as well as in the comments below. What are you guys waiting for? It's one of the best platforms out there. Go check them out. You won't be disappointed. So X Money is now rolling out, which is absolutely crazy because of how many users are going to be onboarded to X Money. Now, there has been a lot of speculation over the years about how Elon Musk knows about XRP and he's going to adopt XRP and tap into Ripple, and we're going to see XRP be the backing of X. And although that does sound great on paper, there is no confirmation of this. And in fact, I don't think XRP is a part of this at all at the moment. Now, that does not mean that we won't see XRP integrated at some point in time. We already know that Bitcoin and Ethereum are definitely heavily tied back to X already. And XRP could definitely be, the next currency to be added. But we do have here from X Money that your money on the world's most powerful network, X Money, is rolling out to US Premium and Premium Plus subscribers starting today. Now, yeah, it's pretty cool. I love to see this. And the main thing that I'm looking at here with like X Money is some of the connections back to Ripple and possibly even XRP. Because we have been watching some of the key players here around like certain platforms and having like connections back to Ripple and XRP, how that's kind of unfolded over the years. Like for an example, we think about Standard Chartered, right? One of the early investors into Ripple. They're starting to do so much with digital assets. And we come back to like Zodiac Custody, which is, another arm of Standard Chartered, which is already integrated with Ripple Custody. Like some of these connections, like we continue to follow because at some point in time, it might not happen immediately overnight. They start to tap in with Ripple and we get those like big confirmations or like big announcements. Now, does that mean that X is going to do that? We don't know. Nobody knows. But the significance here is Cross River Bank. This is the bank that we are watching because we know going all the way back to March, which is when a lot of speculation really started to happen, the deposits around X payments, right, are held by Cross River Bank, member FDIC, and are insured by the FDIC up to $250,000 per individual and per legal entity for all accounts in each account ownership category held at the bank combined, including accounts held in a representative capacity. Now, Elon Musk did say true to this. He even made a post about it. Now, like I said, everyone has been speculating on this. Everyone's been saying like, oh, are we about to see XRP being plugged in? Are we about to see XRP being tied back to this? And we'll talk about why here in a moment. But if we go over here to X.com, the main reason why we are so heavily fixated on some of these platforms like integrating any cryptocurrency is because of how much traffic they have. Like X.com is ranked number 8 in the global rank, number 10 in the country rank. And if we look at visits, 3.96 billion visits. So what percentage of that 3.96 billion would you say has an X Premium or Premium Plus account, which is tied back to, X payments? Would you say 1%? Because even at 1%, you're still looking at a very significant amount of users. At 10%, I mean, it's just insane. So again, I do think that that's why everyone should be paying attention to what some of these platforms are doing. We already know that X has been kind of pro crypto over the years. Recently, they were kind of a little bit negative towards it, but now they're starting to really kind of open the doors for digital currencies and digital assets in a big way. So I do hope that we will start to see more integrations into this platform, possibly around cryptocurrencies like XRP. Now, we do have over here that we're very proud and honored to roll out the very first social media FDIC-insured banking platform in partnership with X. When fully available, X Money will deliver to hundreds of millions of X users intuitive and elegant payments and account functionalities with the full consumer protection and trust of a regulated entity. This is a game changer for consumers and the market at large from a technological, banking, and lifestyle perspective. Much more to come in the coming weeks. So yeah, this is very interesting. I wonder what's going to get announced later on. But yes, this is Cross River Power's X Money. Now, a lot of people were asking about XRP and XRPL, and I don't know if we're going to see that announcement or not, but it's definitely interesting when coming back to 2014, where Cross River was the first ever Ripple partner. That's right, the first ever partner of Ripple's. That's definitely a very significant connection right there. But the question is it significant enough to confirm that XRP will be tied back to this platform? I feel like everyone is, looking at some sort of connection here, trying to, connect the dots. There isn't any just yet. But we do know, going all the way back to 2020, David Schwartz, who is the prior XRP Ledger, or I should say Ripple CTO, original architect of the XRP Ledger, he scheduled his reply tweet to a post when XRP hit 60 cents back in November of 2020. Now, there was a question for David, which was, David, hi. In one of your speeches, you mentioned that micropayments eliminated the need for larger payments. Paraphrasing, can you please elaborate? Thank you. Hope your ankle is doing well. Now, here we have the analogy that I use is packet data. What good is a packet? Well, not very much, but if you can command millions of them, you can replace circuits for carrying data. At one time, pretty much all voice was circuit switched, which is a lot like one big payment. And the conventional wisdom was that packets would never take over the telephone system because they were unreliable. But packets won because they don't require the middle of the network to be smart. So you can innovate at the edges. Routers don't have to understand video or high-level protocols. That's what micropayments can do. With low-cost, high-speed micropayments, you can make big payments out of thousands or millions of little payments, just as we do with packets and lots of problems, such as needing a quote, needing trust, the free option problem, incomplete payments just go away. So yeah, when we come back to micropayments, this post is very interesting because it's putting a spotlight on why micropayments themselves are so important, and also how significant they could be in the path to much larger payments. And I bring this up because of X payments, because again, if we're thinking about X payments, right? Sure, there's going to be transactions that are very large, maybe $100, $1,000, $10,000. But for the most part, I feel like most of the transactions here are going to be in the dollar range to maybe like $10 range, maybe even less than $1 as well. And I think about like the tipping side as well. Like imagine sending a tip to somebody on X, maybe for like a couple cents, 20 cents, 50 cents. Like there's going to be a ton of micropayments tied back to this. Now with the XRP Ledger is perfectly built for micropayments. Same with a lot of blockchain technology. Like they are built for micropayments at whole. Like even when it comes back to like Hedera was a big, pusher of like the whole idea of like, oh, blockchain can work perfectly for, micropayments. And yeah, it does. It works flawlessly for it because of the transactional speed, the cost per transaction, the scale as well, like being able to scale to thousands of transactions per second. Like those factors alone is exactly what supports the idea of some of these networks being dominant in a microtransactional world. But it's not just going to be all microtransactions here. But I do really think that this is a pretty significant announcement, especially considering the fact that, yes, like Cross River Bank being tied back to this in a big way, like being that the main player here, I find this very, very interesting. And again, like I don't necessarily like think that, oh, like that's it, like XRP's tied back to this because of this. Like we don't even know if Cross River and Ripple are really tied back to one another still. There's still connections back to them, but for the most part, it doesn't feel like this is integrating any digital currencies or digital asset technology just yet. But we do know that a few big players are tied back to this, like Cross River, even Visa. So let's see what happens. But I do think that initially right now, there's no confirmed networks in the space. But it doesn't mean that we can't see integrations at some point in time. Like XRP would play a perfect rule here, but does that mean that it needs to or that it will? Not exactly. But I do know that a lot of people are also connecting back the post that Elon Musk had back in October of 2022, which was no way. He was responding back to Brad's post regarding the SEC, saying like the SEC wants you to think that it cares about disclosure, transparency, and clarity. Don't believe them. When the truth eventually comes out, the shamefulness of their behavior here will shock you. And yeah, we did see from Elon Musk saying no way, because also Elon Musk did fight the SEC for a bit of time as well. So he kind of ran into the same issue. So they were, Elon Musk was basically just supporting Ripple along that fight, but it doesn't mean much at all. More so when I come back to X Money, I think about some of those older posts that I kind of went over, connecting the dots between, like the early days of the Ripple network. And you might not know what I'm talking about, but let's actually get into it. So here we have pretty much a full breakdown, and this is actually coming from Utility Theory. And you guys probably remember this. This goes all the way back to 2022, where we were starting to see the full rebrand to X.com from Twitter. And this was regarding Ripple-based networks. And if we actually read into this, we have here that over the last couple months, there has been much talk about Elon Musk's acquisition of Twitter and the hate narrative that has emerged in mainstream media. This tells us that there is resistance to change and a desire to maintain the status quo in the financial world. However, change is inevitable, and the rise of decentralized networks and trust Twitter applies to that. Twitter applies to that. In this report, we will delve into X.com and the prior discussions of decentralized trust networks around 2012 and how they are transforming the way we communicate and handle money. Because if you guys don't remember, X.com was originally planned back even in 2012. And if we look into this, we have what Elon Musk is planning with Twitter infrastructure and his X.com domain, the paths to the future of Twitter 2.0, and also a ton of results back to this, as well as an article showing how Ripple Trust networks were an early discussion point from X.com and how they were transforming money, which led to, finding even original Ripple, like the original Ripple website, which was dated back to like even 2006. We're talking about 20 years ago, which is insane, absolutely insane. And this is like one of the original Ripple architects. But if we go over here, we have a blast from the past, a review of documents hidden from the internet for over 10 years, X.com research results. And this is crazy because, again, like I love the whole idea of like, oh, let's connect the dots back to like Cross River. This is the holy grail, right? Because again, these are like all of the full connections regarding like how X.com became, a thing originally. I mean, what we already have with X right now, it wasn't really exactly what Elon even wanted. Like the X.com domain was basically the everything app. That's what they were considering it. And I feel like we're kind of getting to that point right now, but we're still in the early phases of it. Now, using the Wayback Machine website, if we actually look at this, right? This is the start of the end of the era of censored speech, because again, Elon Musk was trying to push towards, a full decentralized Twitter that was fully open, that wasn't censoring people. But to build on top of that, again, like that's just like the full decentralized open part of it. I know that you guys don't really care too much about that. You care more so about the money side of things. So Twitter 2.0, the Bird app is evolving and obtaining a money license. That happened back on November 3rd of 2022. As you guys can see here, this is the November 21st, 2022 full breakdown of it. The received date was 11/4. The authorized signature date was 11/3. And here we have the blast from the past. So again, if we're looking into this, we're mainly looking at Ripple networks. And basically what Ripple networks are is they're networks that essentially are, they're basically exactly what we have with Ripple, which is like advancing how payment channels work. It's a fully decentralized network. It enables real-time low-cost transactions. And that potential is very significant, especially when we think about like rebranding e-commerce as a whole, which is also the whole idea of like X-commerce. Which is basically just like an e-commerce platform, which was being developed by eBay. But also, we have the use of Ripple network concept in a decentralized setting would have significant economic implications. This would shift tens of billions of dollars in profit from credit card companies to individuals. They would also be able to make payments directly with each other without needing to go through a central intermediary like a credit card company. Furthermore, that the Ripple network would reduce the cost of short-term loans by providing a highly competitive market in which people would request and receive lines of credit. This is because the decentralized nature of the Ripple network would allow for a greater number of lenders to participate in the market, increasing competition and driving down interest rates, which we think about like the lending protocol that's becoming a reality. But also, when we come back to like a live implementation of the Ripple network, it actually redirected to the first versions of Ripple in 2012 with 4,500 network users, which is kind of crazy. Now, there was also the first version of the Ripple website dating back to like March of 2006, which led to, again, this is utility theory, finding the initial Ryan Fugger Ripple white paper from 2004. And that's like the original concept of Ripple itself. But looking into this, like, it's kind of crazy, but like the Ripple Trust Network was always a part of the puzzle, like even dating back to prior of like 2010, before even Bitcoin as well, which also kind of takes us back to the whole idea of like David Schwartz having a patent for DLT back in the 80s. It's kind of crazy to think about, but like that's how I look at this in a sense of like all of this has been planned. Like Ripple was going to win since, the start, which is also why I feel like Ripple is so intertwined between, all of these big players in the world of finance. But this all doesn't really mean that, all right, well, with X.com, that means that Ripple is 100% going to be behind all of this with XRP, right? I don't necessarily think that that's the case. I feel like regardless of what happens here with X.com and with Elon Musk and Ripple or whatever, the main thing I'm looking at is like, regardless of, a platform like X integrating crypto, like even if we never had crypto tied back to X, which we already do, we still have like the DTCC. We still have all of this development happening around payments and payments changing with tokenization and stablecoins. That X.com is simply just a very small piece of the puzzle. I do think that some of these connections are very, very significant. The main thing that we're looking at here, though, is that we are entering in a completely new era of payments and social media. Like social media is changing so much. The fact that you can now get paid on social media this way is crazy. I think that that's just it's just insane. That we have this integrated into a social media app. I think that this is the clearest confirmation that social media itself is pretty much starting to incorporate every piece of what we already have outside of social media, so that everything's kind of all in one place, which is like the X Everything app. But it's also showing us that things are changing so quick. But this is also pretty crazy for like the creator economy. I think being able to get paid on these platforms like this is such a game changer. But again, are we seeing a very bullish setup for XRP, for Ripple? Well, not in the sense of, oh, X is going to incorporate XRP like overnight or tomorrow. I don't necessarily think of it that way. I think more so of the idea of we're probably going to start to see major integrations across the board for almost every platform. I mean, XRP can already be tapped in on, Shopify. It can be tapped in on Stripe. Like those are huge platforms for e-commerce. So we already are starting to see Web 2 apps integrating digital currencies, DLT, blockchain, which is such a huge confirmation of where we're headed. We're seeing the convergence of Web 2 and Web 3 in real time, which is very exciting. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord on the description below. And with that being said, guys, thanks for watching. Peace out, guys.
So I guess we'll hit this last video and shut it down for the evening. Let me know what you guys think so far in the comments. This is State Street and Citibank with Crypto Sensei. So let's see here. Now we reach RLUSD. Ripple says RLUSD can operate as a regulated cash leg in delivery versus payment transactions. That means one side of the trade is tokenized assets. The other side is stable value payment assets. Think of the transactions as two hand meetings. One hand carries the fund share, the other hand carries the RLUSD, both exchanges at settlement. Why might an institution prefer a stable coin for payment side? Because institutions need predictable units for pricing, accounting, liquidity, and management settlement. They do not want to price a fund share at approximately 11,429 tokens, depending on which Bitcoin does during lunch. A dollar the monetized stablecoin gives them a clearer cash instrument. Now, let us be precise. This does not automatically mean every institutional transaction uses XRP. This does not mean every tokenized fund creates direct XRP buying pressure. This does not guarantee that XRP immediately increases in price. What it does mean is that Ripple is expanding RL or XRPL based financial infrastructure, and XRP remains the native asset of the ledger. XRP can play many roles involving network transaction fees, account reserves, liquidity, asset exchange paths, bridge transactions where appropriate, but the exact demand generated for XRP depends on how much each product is designed and used. That distinction matters. We're bullish with receipts, not bullish with creative writing. Ripple announced explicitly named RLUSD as the regulated cash leg envisioned for delivery versus payment. It did not claim that every transaction will require XRP or guarantee direct XRP price appreciation. So, be honest, is RLUSD helping the XRP environment, or do you need to see more evidence of direct XRP liquidity usage? Trying to get this to freaking copy. So type ecosystem or type where are we? Or direct XRP. Ripple connected the investment to earlier working involved institutional tokenization. Ripple specifically referenced partnerships involving Aveas investors, Franklin Templeton, and DBS. Ripple said these relationships demonstrate that asset managers are exploring tokenized fund structures at scale. Earlier in 2026, Ripple announced work with Aveas investors to tokenize transaction funds structures in XRPL. And I remember that announcement, actually. Ripple describes its role as helping define tokenized standards while working with partners like ZILO and Licuido on assurance, distribution, custody, and additional uses for those tokenized assets. This gives us an important sequence. First, Ripple establishes institutional relationships. Then Ripple creates the tokenized standard. Then it invests in companies providing the ownership, assurance, distribution, and collateral layers. This looks less like a single partnership announcement and more like an assembling financial technology stack. Think of Ripple walking through the institutional hardware store. We need custody, put in the cart. Stablecoin settlement, put in the cart. Transfer agency, put in the cart. Collateral mobilization, will take those too. Strategy appears to be vertically integration across the life cycle of tokenized assets. Ripple linked new investments to its prior collaboration with Avail investors and reference institutional tokenized worked with the Avail investors and Franklin Templeton. So let me know what you guys think about that. And we'll do this last little video with Crypto Sensei and shut it down for the day. So just want to make sure. Yeah, let me do this and we'll be right back.
Financial institutions all over the world are secretly and quietly connecting to XRP and Ripple infrastructure. Some are saying that the XRP ledger could experience a massive supply shock in the second half of this year. We're also seeing Ripple target and BNY target the same transfer agency market in the same week, which is pretty insane. A lot of connections and collaborations now happening behind closed doors. We're also going to explore the upcoming XRP Ledger lending protocol that will open up new institutional level investment and, of course, new use cases where you even might be able to participate and earn yield off of your XRP. Let me go ahead and explore the latest stories. I got that and so much more in this video. Of course, we need to talk about Ripple's brand new investment. Ripple isn't slowing down. Fresh investments into ZILO and Licuido, building out regulated transfer agency issuance and collateral mobility infrastructure on top of their tokenization stack. This is how you win institutional finance quietly. And this was just announced hours ago. Ripple has announced a strategic investment into ZILO, providers of global agency asset technology solutions. ZILO is also partnered with both Citibank and State Street, which has almost 60 trillion in assets under management, providing institutional clients with a single integrated platform and eliminating the needs for separate technology stacks. And this is what some XRP influencers are now calling for, a possible supply shock just over the horizon.
XRP supply shock was a meme until now. Folks are about to wake up and we aren't going to be left behind, but most of retail has no clue what's about to blow up on the XRP ledger. We're talking about on-chain capital markets, the ability to lend and borrow against your XRP. This has never been available before. This all changes in the second half of 2026. Now, Ripple just announced 2 strategic investments here. These companies right here are going to be adding regulated transfer agency issuance and collateral mobility to our capital markets infrastructure built on the XRP ledger. This comes on the heels of Aviva investors tokenizing its US dollar liquidity fund on the XRP ledger last week, a clear signal that institutions are ready to move. And so you're going to have retail and institutions locking up their XRP as collateral in the lending and borrowing, this whole on-chain capital markets that's about to be built out here. 99% of crypto is not paying attention. Don't let that be you. Fall for more.
99% of people are not paying attention. A lot of people are upset that Michael Saylor and Strategy have started selling Bitcoin. People will look for other institutional assets to invest in. And as XRP expands its reach globally and ETFs reach almost 1 billion XRP locked up here in the United States, big things are on the horizon. Now, I just wanted to give you a little bit more information. Ripple investments into ZILO and Licuido are about turning the XRP Ledger and RLUSD into regulated market plumbing for tokenized funds, transfer agency, issuance, collateral mobility, and atomic settlement. ZILO's existing relationship with State Street means this infrastructure can, in principle, sit directly under a custodian that oversees tens of trillions in assets. Where is State Street? And that's where the angle does come from. I'm not going to go into this fully. We did talk about this on the early XRP video on August 3rd. If you want a full detailed breakdown, go check that video out. But it talks about tokenized fund issuance on the XRP ledger and why that's important. Regulated transfer agency on chain, atomic settlement with RLUSD on the XRP ledger, and collateral mobility and reuse. And also, I thought this was very interesting. We talked about this just a few days ago, that BNY is targeting an 8.6 trillion transfer agency market on blockchain rails. These capital markets expand to 200 to 300 trillion globally. And now we're seeing overlap with some of the largest financial institutions are doing and what Ripple is doing. And I do think quietly behind the scenes, you could see a connection here between Ripple and BNY as this technology gets built out and gets expanded. There is a clear overlap here. BNY and Ripple and ZILO are both targeting transfer agency and tokenized fund infrastructure on blockchain rails, but they're approaching it from different angles with different tech stacks. BNY is moving its core transfer agency record keeping onto blockchain to create a single on-chain ownership of the ledger and tokenized funds, while keeping its existing transfer agency system and traditional settlement rails in place. Now you start to wonder, when will BNY upgrade its traditional settlement rails to new blockchain rails? I mean, you have RLUSD reserves sitting inside of BNY. You have multiple partnerships and technologies expanding here now with BNY and Ripple, and now they're both targeting the transfer agency in the same week. There is some serious connections here. Now let's continue. Vet posted this earlier, the upcoming XRP Ledger lending protocol and its native features. The security scrutiny makes it safer than other smart contract implementations, allowing people to lend and borrow XRP or RLUSD to institutions and other projects in a major unlock for liquidity on chain. This could redefine institutional development and adoption of the XRP Ledger and allow you, the retail consumer at home, to earn off of your XRP. Listen closely.
Everyone can trust that it's safer than any other features on that are custom or done in a smart contract on other chains.
Yeah. Speaking of like native features, and one of the upcoming ones that are highly anticipated, bigger ones, is the lending protocol, right? So yeah, XLS 66, 65, really like from major unlocks, looking at what people want to do with it and what it means actually for the XRP Ledger. What does like the lending protocol or this amendment mean for you, and from your experience with developers, institutions as well? What is the feedback that you are getting from this feature?
Yeah, so maybe I'll start with explaining a bit how we see our role in exploring new features. So at Commons, our core mission is really to create the conditions of successful builders to thrive in the XRPL ecosystem. So the core of our mission is not to build new features on the XRPL. That's Ripple X role, that's the foundation's role. But as a contributor to the ecosystem, we feel it's also our role to make sure that these features are safe. So the first thing we do is we run tests. We now have a platform of tests that is available for everyone, so people can really test the amendments, these new features. They can, so for instance, smart escrow, we have on this platform, I think it's on our website. I'm going to maybe share the links later, and you can add video. But basically, it lets anyone really test with a simple UI the new features that are upcoming. And behind the stage, we also run a lot of technical tests to make sure that there's no bug, that there is no discrepancy between the specifications and the behavior of the apps. So that's our role. We see that as our core mission, and sometimes we catch a bug, and it's good that we were there. So that's the first part. And then on the business side, we explore how these features can be used. And our role is also to educate the community, but let's say the greater community, not just the XRP community, but the fintech, the financial world as a whole, the startup world, to introduce them to these new features and how they can leverage them in their own products. So that requires a lot of thinking on our side, like how can these things be used, and what will be the most relevant use case? Because new features can sometimes be used in a million ways, but we want to work on the ones that will set an example for the others to follow. And so lending for us was from day one. So we're following the open source roadmap that Ripple provides for new features, that the foundation provides for new features. And so every time there's a new feature coming up, we have a conversation, like we call it the product team. So what type of product can you build with these new features? And then we start exploring with partners in the community and outside the community, what can you do with it? And so for us, lending protocol on XRPL was the very first idea was, let's use it to generate yield, native yield on XRPL mainnet. So for us, it's the biggest use case. This is how we see there's going to be a cascade of value for everyone in the ecosystem. If we design it well, so it requires several. So it's not just something that you click and it works. It requires a lot of layers on the technical side, but also on the business side. So creating vaults, being able to get the curators to pick the right assets. Sometimes these businesses are regulated, so also bringing the right regulated partners, the right regulated assets, and make sure that this whole chain of value gets created and then brings the value back into the ecosystem. And so native yield on XRPL for us has been the key topic for the last year. But we're just seeing that arriving now, where some of the partners we've been in conversation for a while are now in the production phase. They're almost ready to release. And so, and it's not a secret, there are a lot of people, a lot of companies that are seeing that as a huge opportunity. And I think the opportunity is so big that it's going to feed everyone for a while. It's not just one company that will come and take the whole cake. There's going to be enough for a lot of companies, because these businesses because they're regulated, they will have to be localized. And so we'll see champions emerging in the US, emerging in Europe, emerging in Asia, in Middle East. So I see that as potentially a huge step forward for the ecosystem.
He's just trying to interject so much time. He's like sitting there. It threw me for a loop, man. I mean, they have the same background. And so I was like, are they sitting next to each other? And I'm like, no, they have the same exact background. So I was tripping out there for a second. All right. Let me know what you guys thought about that. Obviously, lending and borrowing is going to be a massive unlock for XRP holders and institutional adoption. And I'm really looking forward to it as we get more information and maybe a little bit more kind of clips talking directly about the impact. I will bring those to you. There's a 32-minute interview. If you like what you saw there and wanted to watch more of that, go ahead and check the XRP Ledger Foundation X account, and it'll be there for you guys to watch.
So shout out to Crypto Sensei, but we need to wrap it up. So here's the verdict. Ripple's institutional XRPL expansion is real. Ripple confirms strategic investments in ZILO and Licuido. ZILO adds regulated transfer agency and record-keeping capabilities. Licuido adds assurance, distribution, and execution and collateral mobility infrastructure. RLUSD is positioned as the regulated cash side of the delivery versus payments. RLUSD is positioned as a settlement layer that creates a simple institutional formula. ZILO records it, Licuido moves it, RLUSD pays for it, XRPL settles it, but XRP needs price confirmation. At approximately $1.06 to $1.07, XRP has not yet broken the $1.10. The bullish case is stronger if XRP defends the $1.05 to the $1.06, reclaims the $1.08 to the $1.09, breaks and closes above the $1.10, retests $1.10 successfully, and does it with increasing volume. Until then, $1.10 remains resistance, not a confirmed victory. Ripple is building a financial plumbing. Now XRP needs to bring the price receipts. Before you leave, hit the like button, subscribe to the BTM Crypto News Network, share the live stream with the XRP Army, and put your final weekend target in the chat. $1, $1.10, $1.15, or $1.20. This is the BTM Crypto News Network, where we bring conviction, entertainment, and receipts. No fake confirmations, no mystery bank rumors, No moon math disguised as analysis. I'll see you on the next one. So thanks for joining. And as always, let's get back to the money, guys, and stay dangerous. Miners out.